I just have to say my ice cream is melting.
Oh no.
No, that's how I like it.
Okay, good.
I like it when it just goes a little soft.
Yeah,
that's
a little soupy.
I'm very happy. What was the question?
Do you think all great players have the ability to teach?
Oh no, not at all.
All right, PADRAIG Harrington, welcome to The Scoop.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I think this is the best interview I've ever done. I've got one question. When I finish the ice cream, is that the end of the interview?
We do have more. Don't eat it too fast.
Okay.
I know you don't want to get out of here too fast. Okay, so your dad was quite an athlete, I
Yes.
read. Is he who introduced you to golf?
Yeah, very much so. So my dad was a policeman. He was top class Gaelic footballer, so that's the biggest sport in Ireland. He would have played a couple of All-Ireland finals, so our version is a Super Bowl. So I grew up thinking I was going to be a footballer. But when my dad retired from football, he took up golf. He had moved to Dublin, the big city, the capital of Ireland, and after a while he figured out that the young guards coming up, golf wasn't for them. It was too expensive, or they couldn't get into the club. So himself and a dozen guys got together, and they convinced the police social club to lease them the land, and they built a golf course. They built it for, I think, probably for every favour that possibly a police could call in at that stage. So I know at 4 years of age I was doing manual work on that golf course. Luckily my brothers were older, they had to pick the stones out of the quarry. I only had to level greens and things, but everybody was part of it, and I just grew up that was my home away from home, my playground. Can you imagine in today's environment, certainly from 5 years of age, I was running around that golf course on my own, looking for golf balls, chasing rabbits. Like it was, maybe I was savvy enough to know, but everybody was, you wouldn't let a kid out now on a golf course,
Yeah.
but that's what we did back then.
Yeah.
So it was my playground.
Yeah.
It wasn't my first love. You know, Gaelic football was my first love. I played hurling, I played basketball, I played soccer, I played everything. I love sport. And it was only when I got to about 13 years of age that I started winning at golf. And as a side to this, and you could do a survey with all the golfers, European golfers anyway, soccer playing golfers. Most golfers were goalkeepers.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
Miserable. It's a miserable, lonely, selfish place. All the skills you need for golf. So I played outfield in Gaelic, but I played goalkeeper in soccer. And you know, we were playing a high standard. We were losing. So of course, when we lose, it's my fault. I'm letting in 2 or 3 goals. When you win, you don't get any glory. And all of a sudden, I'm winning playing golf. It was very easy. And I believe that, maybe because I'm biased, but I believe a lot of sports people, it's very circumstantial. What was the local club to you? Who was the coach that brought you along, or your friend or your brother? It's what you got a chance to play and maybe made the first team and got involved with and got good results with that you stick with. It's not necessarily, you know, if you talk to all the golfers, just for some reason there was access to a golf course near them or something like that, and it just became their number one hobby.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you studied to be an accountant.
Yes.
2-part question. One, how were you in school as a student? And then what went into the decision to turn pro?
Well, when I finished your version of high school, I'm like everybody, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'd applied to a few colleges, none in the States. It was the late 80s, and scholarships in the States weren't considered educationally very good. They were considered that you were being handed the education. So I couldn't have gone to the States and brought that degree home to Ireland.
Okay.
So I did look to go to Scotland, in Ireland. And then my brother, who was an accountant, he just brought me by the hand and enrolled me in a I don't know what you call it, or like a public, like a regional college, like just, you know,
State
night school.
Yeah.
I went to a night school.
Okay.
And started off my accountancy. I was good at numbers. Always had, you know, I kind of boast, I did my exams in accountancy without a calculator because it was quicker.
Oh my God.
It was my mother. Now this is here, I'm letting you in on the secrets. My mother, now this is legal in Ireland, my mother ran a bookmaker's, like an office, a full on, you know, when you'd see on the side, you know, a shop. She was the manager of a bookmaker. So she could, now this is again, we're back 40 years ago. She would be able to tell what all, I think you call them parlays over here, all the multiple bets. She could work that out in her head. She didn't need a machine, so there'd be somebody tapping it into the machine, and she'd know if that person hit the wrong figure because she'd have the roundabout number. Another trick my mother had, she never went and did her shopping. She'd count the messages as it went up, and she never ever questioned the tally without being right, ever. And I used to always go to the shop. She's just unbelievable, raw numbers. So we're not talking equations and stuff like that. We're just talking, and my mother's 86 years of age, and to today she's still, when it comes to numbers, she plays bridge, she's sharp with numbers. And I think whether I was or wasn't good at numbers, obviously had the confidence to, numbers were easy. So the accountancy wasn't so bad, even though if you actually do accountancy, it's only about half it is what people would think accountancy. It's a lot of written stuff, boring stuff. Anyway, two years into it, maybe more, 3 years into it, I had no intention of being a pro. You know, I was kind of thinking, I didn't want to be an accountant either. I was thinking it would lead me into business, you know, maybe managing a golf course, or I wanted to be in the industry because I like golf. And about 3 years in, I'd been playing for Ireland and I'd never lost. Every match I played, I beat their best players. And those guys were turning pro because they thought they were good enough. And I was going, I'm actually beating these guys. Maybe I'm good enough. I really didn't think I was good enough, but I knew I was beating these guys. And I said I'd give it a go. And again, my whole idea was, if I turn pro, it's about building my name. You know, maybe 5 years on tour, I can come back and get what you would say in the States, a country club job, and be a nice pro. I had no idea that it would go anywhere near as well as it did.
Wow. So I want to ask you a little bit about instruction, because you are great at that. Do you think all great players have the ability to teach, or what do you think it takes? Why are you good at it?
I just have to say my ice cream is melting.
Oh no.
No, that's how I like it.
Okay, good.
I like it when it just goes a little soft.
Yeah,
that's
a little soupy.
It's really nice. You've got chocolate and vanilla in there.
Yeah, we did both for you.
It's now mixing really well. I'm very happy. What was the question?
The question was, let's see, do you think all great players have the ability to teach?
Oh no, not at all.
What do you need? And why not? Why can't all great players?
There's plenty of players who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that can be a very good thing. There's plenty of players that are very good at knowing what they're doing, but don't want to get involved in anybody else's. Don't want to get things in their head.
Yeah.
You know, some of the best players, like if you want to be a really good golfer, being a dumb golfer is a good thing. And I don't mean that you can be the most intelligent person in the world, but being a dumb golfer and not overthinking it is a great thing. That's not me. I like to think about it. I'm fascinated. I grew up with 4 older brothers. My dad, my mum took up playing golf, and we talk golf all day, every day. We talk the rules, we talk what was going on. So I'm fascinated by, why is that guy a bandit? Bandit is, I don't know what you call it, a sandbagger over here?
Yeah.
Why is that guy a sandbagger?
Yeah.
Why is he so good? Why can that guy, when he's a 9 handicap, play like a 5 handicap, but when he's a 5 handicap, he plays like a 9 handicap? No difference, but he just the pressure, the stress of it. So all that interested me, and it follows up into the pro-ams I play. Every week I play a pro-am, and I can tell when you took up the game of golf.
Yeah.
Like what era you took up the game by your golf swing.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and you don't even have to hit a golf ball, and I can tell it. We can tell so much when people walk up just by how they carry their clubs, just their mannerisms.
Can you tell what kind of golfer I'd be?
Not right here and now.
All right.
I need to see you with the golf clubs.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. So I think at heart the golf club I was brought up in was a real hustler's club. There was always gambling going on, whether that was golf, snooker, cards. There was always hustles. You had to read a person really quick. You had to figure out, this guy, and as they say, if you can't spot the sucker at the table, it means you're the sucker. So you get good at reading who's what. And again, 4 older brothers, same thing. As a kid, I can remember playing cards with my older brothers, and they'd be taking sweets, candies off me, like 6 years of age. If you didn't get with it, you're going to lose your goods. So I like that idea of trying to figure it out. And then what I found with golf, which is great, and I do think this is, again, everything seems to come back to me being the youngest of 5 boys. I'm a little bit contrarian. I want to get in the middle of things and say, this is the opposite. What you think I not necessarily want to say you're wrong, but I want to tell you it's the complete opposite. Have you thought this? And a lot of times with golf, you know, pretty much every golfer of a handicap, they'd be better off doing the opposite of what they think, and that will work. So it's good fun as well. Look, we play pro-ams every week. We're out there 5 hours. You've got to entertain yourself. So, you know, when we're out there, you know, first of all, none of these guys are sort of dragged in off the street. They're all quite successful, and some mega successful at what they do. So there's always something interesting to ask them about. There's always somebody who's working, so you can give them a bit of stick and they have to take it. And then the other guys, you know, you can have a bit of fun with and try and, you know, help them with their golf, no matter what. But that sort of 5 hours, I think everybody should do it. But I've learned over the years, you got to entertain yourself when you're out there and you pay attention.
Do you have a favorite Pro-Am memory? I saw you were with my coworker, Michael Bamberger, and you had a guy start swinging like he was a baseball player. I was wondering if there's any memorable kind of lessons or stories that you've had along the way.
Probably the best one I had was I played with 3 amateurs in Germany.
Okay.
And their combined handicap, I'm going to pause it here for a second. Everybody can have a little guess themselves.
Okay.
Their combined handicaps was 150.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, 150. No, 148. 2 32s and a 54. Is that right? Got to get this right.
You're the math guy.
Yeah,
you know better than I do.
64, yeah, 100. No, that doesn't add up anyway.
But it was very high.
It must have been 3 32s and a 54. Maybe it was 2 48s and a 54. That would add up. That would make sense. It was 2 48s and a 54. So the 3 of them out there, we had a great day. The 3 of them were, 2 of them particularly were exceptionally successful in life. And the third had his own business as well, just starting out. So we had a great day. But the big pressure of that, and this is probably one of my favorite stories, is on the first tee, they'd picked me to be their pro because they knew of my Paddy's golf tips on YouTube. So they expected I'd have all the answers on the first tee.
Oh, jeez.
that wasn't going to happen. I did have an amateur once turn up. Now, this was at an outing, not a pro-am. And he says, oh, I need a higher clubs. And the caddy master says, well, you know, do you need right-handed or left-handed? He went, I don't know. He'd never swung a club. I had no idea. Nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens a bit. You know, every player will have somebody turns up maybe in street shoes that's never played golf. They get a nice outing at the, you know, why wouldn't I get this invite and go out and play? So
totally.
Yeah, so we know what to do. We have fun. We brush them along, and you know.
You've seen it all.
Yeah, I remember in Germany one year playing in early morning, so it was cold. It was a bit wet and tough par 4, and I think I'd hit driving 4-iron to like 10 feet, like unbelievable, great. And my amateur had hit 5 shots and he was in a ditch. Briars, wet, water in the ditch. He crawled in to try and play the ball. And I'm going, what are you doing? He said, oh, I just need to hit one good shot. And I think that's the same with every amateur. Once they hit one good shot, they feel they're off and running. But and I clearly with this, we know this, so we bring them along and say, don't worry about it. If they're in trouble, we bring them up the fairway, start from here, get going. And once they get their confidence, you know, they enjoy the day.
Yeah. What are some tips that, you know, these amateur golfers are getting that you think should be ignored? Because I know, you know, husbands and friends will try and give a tip, or, you know.
Probably the most dangerous thing an amateur can do is try and keep their head still or their feet still.
Okay.
You don't want to lock things down. You basically, you're trying to swing a golf club the same way you swung any stick as a kid. You know, plenty of movement. Get that movement going, get that speed going, and then we can tidy it up later on. But if you lose that athleticism and that dynamic bit of your swing, you don't ever get it back. So I would say feet still, head still, long backswing, not using your hands. Yeah, they would all be the common ones, you know. And keep your head down is a disaster.
Yeah.
That's just a disaster. Your head floats naturally, just as it would if you're swinging at a baseball or a tennis ball. You wouldn't be trying to lock it down. Things don't work when you lock anything down. So everything should be kind of relaxed in the golf swing anyway. So yeah, don't keep your feet still. Don't keep your head still. Don't lock your hips up. Don't keep your head down. And don't swing slowly. There you go.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about parenting, because you had a great line here last year about kind of getting, you know, kids into golf, and I think people were really interested in that. How did you navigate being, you know, a successful professional golfer and having, you know, kids who maybe wanted to get into the game? Were you encouraging that, or did you kind of let them take it up on their own?
Well, very much. I'm not the role model when it came to my kids getting them into golf. They both play golf now. My 21-year-old said to me the start of this year, Dad, why didn't you make me play more golf?
Wow.
Every parent has heard that, haven't they? Look, you can't force your kids to do anything. You've got to bring them along, put them in an environment that they're going to try, that they're going to enjoy it. And once they're enjoying it, they're going to like the sport. That's my basic thing, you know. Bring them to a stress-free place that you're certainly not putting any stress on them. They enjoy themselves where they are. It doesn't matter what skill level they get. I think as parents we get very anxious that we want to jump in and help our kids get better straight away.
Yeah.
Because we think they don't have time. They have all the time in the world. They don't need to be better next weekend. They've got years to get better. So I think we're anxious to get them better straight away, whereas they'll find a way themselves, a nice pace, they'll figure it out, and they will figure it out. I think we get anxious to try and get them there quick, instead of letting them at their own pace and enjoy it. So my kids, they played rugby and enjoyed rugby, you know, but I wasn't involved. And golf-wise, they play a little bit of golf, and they're both will be respectable golfers throughout their life and will play forever. And I think both of them will enjoy the game. They will, you know, they're too late for them to be professional golfers. Some of that's my fault, in the sense of we travel the world. That's no use for your kids. If you want your kids to be good at sport, put them somewhere where they're bored in the summer and they've nothing else to do. So, like, again, if you went to the most professional golfers, we cycled up to the club all summer, 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the day, and just hung out there because we've nothing else to do.
Right.
Now we travel the world and bring them on great foreign holidays, and my kids have seen every zoo in this world, I'd say, at this stage. But it doesn't, you know, in terms of a sport or a golf like that, you end up having to leave. If you want them to be good, let them hang out with their friends, play football in the field, and they get that love. They join the local club and they go on like that. So yeah, being I'm trying to be polite about this, but
You don't have to be polite on this.
well, growing up with not a lot of financial resources, this is trying to be nice about this, you end up, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Whereas my kids have it a lot easier, and that meant they weren't bored, they weren't stuck
Right.
somewhere, so they traveled, and to be honest, they followed my schedule, which
Yeah.
a little bit selfish on my part, but that's what's happened.
That also must be tough, though, because you have to make a decision. Do you keep the family and travel all together, right? Or
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. But you don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Every parent is inexperienced.
Yeah.
Nobody knows until they've made their own mistakes. And,
Right.
you know, life is about making your own mistakes. You hope you don't make big ones, but you got to make them and learn from them. And I look at that and say, yeah, I think my kids would have played more if they had nothing else to do. But instead of us entertaining them, if they entertained themselves, they might have played more golf. But look, they're nice golfers. They look good. They'll enjoy it. And maybe the truth of it is, whoever really follows in their father's footsteps, you know, whoever ends up in the sport, it would be a long shot anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you about your caddy, because you guys have been together for a long time. How did you get to know each other, and how do you end up on your bag?
So, yeah, so myself and my caddy are married to sisters.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of times people think he's the brother of my wife, but that's not the case. We're married to sisters. Now, I knew my caddy before I knew my wife.
Okay.
So he is the younger brother of my junior foursomes partner when I played golf. So I went to school with his brother.
Okay.
So I grew up. He was going to be the next me in my golf club.
No way.
Yeah, you know, they assumed that I'd progress, that he would progress to that standard. He's a pretty decent golfer, but he's not professional standard. So he took a job. He's, you know, got his masters, did that, went and took a job in a bank at home, was doing very well in the bank. He was moving up there, and I was changing caddy. And he'd done this when he was in college. He did 4 weeks for me when I was changing caddy. So this time I'm changing caddy in 2004. I says, well, you know, could you do a few weeks? And he says, hey, yeah, I'll take a few weeks off from the bank and do it. And of course, we won. And no looking back. And the problem with caddies out here, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
Like it is a gambling addiction out here, because every week you can win the lottery. Every week you play, you can win if you're on the main tour, you can win a year's wages.
Yeah.
And more in
Yeah.
a week, you know, and you get 20 weeks holidays, 25 weeks holidays.
Pretty good schedule.
So like there's no caddy that can give it up.
Yeah.
You know, 25 weeks off and the possibility, like you can look and you there's plenty of pros who are struggling to make a living.
Yeah.
So then caddies are on 10% of that, or well, maybe not. They're struggling, but they never give it up. You know, because there's always the hope. It's that addiction. Like, we can win next week and be part of it, and being part of the big show. You know, when you win, I know when I win with my caddy, he's a big part of it. Like, he spends the whole day talking me off the ledge all day. Like,
Yeah.
he's seriously in my ear doing a psychologist, you know, all the way through it. Which is, you know, what caddies have turned into. In the end of the day, you know, doing the yardages, and the truth of it is that's going out the window anyway, because lasers are being involved. Doing that rudimentary, getting the yardage, carrying the bag, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It really is. It's what the caddy says and does on the golf course. The ability not to say the wrong thing and the ability to say the right thing. The ability to be committed. I can't stand a caddy who thinks he's right all the time. That drives me up the wall. Like, if he's trying to cover up his mistakes, he'd be gone with me. I need a caddy to give me a forthright opinion, and if it's wrong, just to stand there and go, that was my opinion, that's what I thought at the time, gave it to you, you took it, you acted on it, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
You know, I got that very early. My brothers used to caddy for me, and I got that very early from them. You know, this is why I don't lose my temper on the golf course or ever shout at my caddy, because I think I complained to my brother one day that I hit a 4-iron over the green. He just put the bag down. They were 10 years older than me, put it down and looked at me and says, I've given you my best opinion. Your job is to take that opinion and act upon it the best you want. But we can do no more than that.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many caddies who the players don't allow them to do that, and then they can't do their job. So if a player is always on the caddy is just going to agree with the player over and over. He's never going to give his true opinion because he's so afraid of upsetting the player and losing his job. Yeah. So you have to have that relationship with your caddy, that, you know, he could say what he thinks, you could say what you think, and you understand that you're human, that, you know, you sometimes make mistakes, but you're in the right place, as in you're committed to what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, I have one last one, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
I often ask...
I'm drinking my ice cream at this stage. But there's still some in here.
Yes, we have like 2 minutes left. So a low moment of your career, a high moment, and something that you've learned.
Okay. I've been very lucky in golf that I progressed always. I didn't go up here and come down. Everything went like this. So, you know, I won big amateur tournaments, played the Walker Cup, won the Walker Cup in '95, won the World Cup, well, won in '96 on tour, won the World Cup with Paul McGinley, made a Ryder Cup team, winning Ryder Cup team, winning tournaments in Europe. You know, each win was important, then winning the major. So I've had a great one. I got another win in 2015, which meant a lot after the thing. Got some wins in the championship. I've been very lucky that the highs have been very good.
Yeah.
Obviously, my first major, I think, stands out in history. So my first one was very exciting. I messed up the 72nd hole, so that left something wanting. My second one was very satisfying. I played great, did everything right, swung the club great, hit the ball great, won by 4 shots, got the wave of the crowd coming. You know, coming down 18 with a 1-shot lead, you ain't enjoying what's going on, I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
But with a 4-shot lead, I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, this is different. And obviously I won the PGA, which I kind of just got in there and grabbed it, so that was very exciting. You know, when you get one that you just kind of just take it by the scruff of the neck, just get your opportunity and take it, that's quite special. So the first one is the highlight, no doubt about it, but lots of good ones. You know, Hall of Fame this year, that was special. And my son speaking, it was amazing how nervous I was. And I don't get nervous about talking. I was really nervous. And then my son spoke, and then I relaxed. I was nervous for him. It wasn't me, because I know I can bluff it, you know, but he did it, you know, once he got up there and talked and did a good job. And remember, he followed Peter Jacobson and Jim Nance. So that was a hard follow. So yeah, that was a big highlight. Low lights. I don't think I really have anything. You know, I've lost a few tournaments where I've been bitter on a Sunday evening, but I'm a very optimistic person. So, like most people, not like most people, but I know if I lose, I'll sit there all evening thinking about it. If I'm flying home, it's a horrible experience. If I'm flying home overnight, I won't sleep a wink. I'll run through it. But the minute I hit a golf shot the next day, it's all about what's happening in the future. So my best trait is that optimism, that, you know, I actually think I'm going to find the secret. There's not a moment that I'm on the range that I say to my caddy, look, myself and my caddy, we're very cynical. It's very typical Irish, cynical and sarcastic. You know, the amount of times I would just finish up my practice and say, I really enjoyed that. And like he knows that every day I really enjoy it. So why am I saying it? And he's going, yeah, okay, we know you really enjoyed it, but you'd really enjoy it every other day. So we have a good relationship like that. He's a bit too much of a realist, I will say. But I'm an optimist, and once I'm hitting shots, I'm like bubbling with excitement that the future is bright. So downside, come on, there must be a downside. A quick one was the Ryder Cup in '99. So when I beat Mark O'Meara, it was my match. The way everybody came to watch my match, it looked like my match was the match.
Okay.
It looked like and I was interviewed by Sky afterwards like I'd won the Ryder Cup. And I say I ran down 18, I actually glided down. I don't think I touched the fairway. Sat down on 17, everybody congratulated me at 17, sat down, and I would say it felt like within 5 seconds of sitting down, Justin Leonard held that putt. Now that was a high to a low. That was really, that was a tough loss for us that week.
Yeah.
It was just as hard. And you know, as regards Justin's putt, the great thing about that is we had pushed the US team so hard to care about the Ryder Cup. You know, they talked about being paid for playing in '99, and also we'd pushed them so hard, they cared. It proved it right there and then. They got overexcited, over exuberant, but that wouldn't have happened except for we had pushed them so hard in that Ryder Cup. And the Europe should look at that and go, there you go, we've made it. And it was Europe who's made the Ryder Cup too. We have pushed them hard and hard now, and they care about it now. You know, there's a nice niggle in it now. There was a bit of niggle back in '99. There was conspiracy theories and all sorts of things going around. Oh yeah, it was crazy stuff. But we didn't know each other. I had to be introduced to players in '99.
Yeah.
Now the players know each other, so it's good to see that there's still a little bit of niggle. I'd be worried that it goes down the road of the President's Cup that they're too familiar with each other. But you know, it's good to see a little bit of argy-bargy when it's on, because it's such a great match. So that was a big low. I got disqualified in 2001 in the Benson and Hedges with a 5-shot lead for not on Sunday. I got disqualified for not signing my card on Thursday. So they've actually changed a lot of rules of golf. They changed that rule of golf. They changed the moving ball. My ball moved it in Augusta. It moved up the green a couple of inches. They've changed about 5 or 6 rules. The groove rule was changed over me. There's a few other ones that have happened to me. And yeah, so, but I don't know, lows, this is a game of golf. How, nothing has gone wrong in golf.
Yeah.
Nothing, yeah.
Overall, pretty good.
Yeah, you know, I bogeyed the last to miss the playoff in Muirfield by a shot in 2002. Mm-hmm. But I was young, I didn't know what was going on. Bogeyed the last 3, winged foot. You know, I had a putt in the last green, I had 3 putt in the last, I had a putt to get in the playoff. So that was tough, but it was my start. I knew I'd win majors, so it didn't hit me very hard. The couple of other majors I would have lost later on. You know, I had a few chances, you know, after my wins, but they're not as sore because I'd won. So I'm trying to find a bad moment.
I mean, that's pretty good.
You know, I would say one of the most, and this is kind of, there's more of a love-hate in this. You know, losing the Ryder Cup as captain. you know, it was devastating. But my team, to a man, said it was the greatest week they ever had. So I had a great relationship with my team. We had a great team. We did everything we could in the environment. So on that side it was brilliant. Inside it was brilliant, and externally it was obviously terrible to lose. And so, but again, I can't put it down as a low because of the bond I have with my teammates from that week.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, PADRAIG. I learned so much about you. This
And
is great.
I finished all my ice cream. There's
Good.
one chip left. Okay. I'm going to savor this.